welcome to another Looney Tunes review video. If you are new to the channel, make sure you subscribe to follow my journey to review all 1000 classic Looney Tunes shorts and give this video a like as well. So this is a review for Patient Porky, released in 1940. It's the 295th in the series, and it's directed by Bob Clampett. You can find this on the Looney Tunes Gold Collection Volume 5 DVD set. An inferior unrestored version, for whatever reason, appeared on the Porky Pig 101 DVD set. There is a high definition version around. Used to be on a streaming service, now it's not, at least at the time of this recording, so hopefully it'll show up on disc at some point. Hopefully an upgraded Porky Pig 101 Blu-ray set, because that would be pretty awesome, I think. Now, in case you haven't seen this short, I can't show you the full thing here due to copyright on YouTube, but essentially we're in a hospital, we see all sorts of Tex Avery-esque gags. We see that there's this crazy cat who sees Porky show up, you know, not looking so good, he's eating too much birthday cake, and as he says, you know, he was pretty much like a pig. And yeah, the cat decides to impersonate a doctor, which I don't think is very legal, but anyway, you know, and yeah, proceeds to try and operate on Porky. So there you go. First, you're going to see a re-edit of the original audio commentary did with my daughter. So it was a nice little time capsule, actually, that this has turned out to be. I actually forgot I did that one with her, so it's definitely a cute one to listen to. But after that, I'll give you some new information and new thoughts on this short. There'll be a sample from the Bob Clampett Retrospective Part 1 video, which my good friends Manny Cruz, the 2 New Tenor, and my good friend Eli Copperman give their thoughts on the short as well, and then a conclusion. So, grab some popcorn and enjoy. Anyway, my daughter's here, once again, Lily. So, hey, say hi, Lily.
Hi.
This is an interesting thing. You look at a problematic character like this, but Lily doesn't know why. I know why, because I know the history behind it, and most people probably watch and not realise why either, but anyway. So Lily, do you think this little owl really has the loss of voice and does not give a hoot?
Well, I think.
Talk above a whisper. You can't what?
Do you think he's he can talk?
No.
Well, he can yell.
Yeah.
Sure. So what do you think of this one, Lily? Was this one a lot funnier than the one we did, the ghost one?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a lot more funnier, isn't it? So here's an interesting thing with the rabbit. I mean, did you like the rabbit, Lily?
Yeah.
Yeah. This is the quote-unquote prototype Happy Rabbit that was originally came out from Ben Hardaway. I mean, but the real Bugs Bunny was a few shorts before this one, so this was probably just Bob just getting whatever and doing it. So yeah, this one is like a bit of a remake of the Daffy Doc, except instead of Daffy Doc, you just got this really weird, crazy cat that doesn't really have a name for what I can see. But yeah, this cat here, it basically does similar wild things, just like Daffy would. So I don't know why he didn't just use Daffy. Maybe he's trying to come up with another character. I don't know. Here is the Dr. Christian, which was, I believe, a series of movies from Dr. Christian, which was a physician who was also very moralistic. I haven't seen any of those, but in doing my research, that's what it is. But yeah, there's a few scenarios there. But I don't know if you've noticed something missing. Who's been missing from this cartoon, Lily? Who's the star of this cartoon supposed to be?
I don't know.
Porky?
Yeah.
Yeah, we don't see Porky until like halfway in the cartoon, which is a bit weird. I mean, we see him now, and I don't know, something wrong with him. I think he's sick, isn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah. And I don't know, I don't think he's seeing what a real doctor, is he? Is that inside of you, Lily? Like,
Nope.
if you eat too much birthday cake? Does your heart tick like that, like a clock?
Nope.
Nope. Definitely not. But I do like this cat character. I love the design and just the way he is, but ultimately there's not really much to him. And in this particular short, there's not even really much of a story either. It's just an excuse to patch together all these different hospital... of course, that was a play on Dr. Kildare, just for that brief moment. But yeah, it's just a whole bunch of gags just tied together, and that's pretty much it. And I just like the fact that somehow he's just getting away with all this without anyone doing anything. Like the Dr. Christian character is gone. You don't really see him anymore. He's just, he's not there. And now he's just going to be operated on just in the surgery, and people just happen to be there straight away. So, Lily, why is everyone already here going to watch the surgery?
I don't know, maybe they came early.
Oh, I don't know. This is just a crazy, like, they've even got a souvenir program, and that's pretty much it. So, and now he's just going to, randomly just cut Porky? Just pretty much, again, similar gag to the original. So, why Porky's so happy with this solution, but anyway, we'll just go with that. We'll just go with that. What does that say, Lily?
Do not open until Christmas.
Wow, that really took me back. As my daughter gets older, it's nice to have that sort of thing. But speaking of the ending, since we were there, that do not open until Xmas gag. Warren Foster, who wrote this cartoon, would end up reusing that later on in Daffy Duck Hunt that was done by Bob McKimson, and it's a pretty great gag. And hey, if it worked once, why not use it again? Nothing wrong with that. And speaking of reused, this is, as I mentioned in the commentary, is a sort of remake-ish of the Daffy Doc. And we get 2 bits of reused animation where, in one part you've got the cat that's punching the bag. That's what Daffy Duck did in the Daffy Doc. And that saw part, they've reused it, but it's flipped, so you'll be able to see it in this edit of the review. So I already briefly pointed out the whole Dr. Kildare parody that was, Dr. Chilled Air, which is pretty good. I quite enjoyed that. But for those of you that don't know, I mean, look, you might know the TV series of Dr. Kildare, but it actually goes back further. It's a fictional American medical doctor, and they would actually he made a first appearance in a magazine story, and then they made some films, and then later on they made a radio and then a television series. And the television series of the 60s is probably the most popular version of it, or most well known, the one that was starring Richard Chamberlain. So, but it's a property that's perhaps really dormant right now, and hey, maybe it could be brought back. But then again, I don't want to give Hollywood any more ideas because they do too many reboots and redos as it is. So we get 3 people that are mentioned in the beginning by the switchboard operator. Of course, we get the pun, surgery, ha ha.
Calling surgery. Dr. Ehrlich. Calling Dr. Ehrlich. Calling Dr. Cyclops. Calling Dr. Cyclops.
Right, yep. I know that's my editor's favorite one of the 3. You got Dr. Ehrlich, that's the main character from the movie Dr. Ehrlich's Magic Bullet that was released in the same year as this cartoon, and Dr. Cyclops, which again is another name of a film released the same year. So it's quite apparent that Clammett really loved his pop culture references, and that even continues to the whole Dr. Christian, and that is a play of the character Dr. Christian, which was the character played by actor Gene Hersholt, if I can say it correctly, in a series of 6 features. And there was also a radio series before that. And this doctor is even a caricature of the actor somewhat, and even the speaking mannerisms as well. And, Gene Hersholt had a very lengthy career, starting all the way back to the Silence, from 1915 up until his death in the mid-1950s. So he definitely had a prolific career. He was also in the 1924 film Greed, in case you want to know what else he's actually been in. But basically, the whole Dr. Christian thing is, hey, he's like a moralistic type doctor, and much like with Dr. Kildare, it's a property that's long since been dormant. And the book in the beginning, how it goes, The Pains Came, that's a reference to the book The Rains Came, which was turned into a movie later on, and Clampett even used that gag beforehand in Pilgrim Porky. So, again, even though the other cartoon came out a few months before, I doubt many audience members would have taken that into account and go, oh, you reused the gag. No. If it's a good gag, there's nothing wrong with redoing it. And, we've got Rochester from the Jack Benny show in the elevator, and I've mentioned Rochester many times, and yeah, I'm not going to get into that now, but definitely have a look. He actually had quite a prolific career. But the elevator gag's kind of weird here. I mean, that would only suggest that each 4 only deals with illnesses of a particular letter. I would hate to think if I had 2 ailments, but they're of different letters. I mean, what, I have to take them between different floors? So it's a weird gag, but I quite enjoyed that one. You know, of course, there are some dad jokes here I absolutely adore, and I know my editor adores as well, because this is the sort of thing he lives for as well. And we got, the owl, who just doesn't give a hoot. Mwah, chef's kiss. The bones are beginning to knit. Well, yeah, there's that. And the whole Herbie hippo swallowed a piano thing, I thought that was weird. I mean, I thought it actually might have been referencing something, but no, it was just a setup for the gag, which, it just showed how crazy this cat is. He's basically a Daffy Duck, but in a cat suit. But in terms of the patient ailments in the background, and this is great about having a HD version, by the way, I never noticed before that one of the patients is Genie Jeep, and the ailment is Jeepers Creepers. You know, lovely. You know, Jeepers Creepers was a short that Bob Clamper did about a year or so earlier. Now, I can see something cat. I'm not sure. I can't really make that out, but the ailment is that the cat nipped. So there's that, which is pretty good. That's pretty good. Probably my favorite gag. You know, I like the Xmas gag, even though it was kind of weird at the end, where it's like Porky's just smiling for some weird reason. But anyway, but I like how the cat is like, take it easy, gently, and then just wham, he just slams Porky on the bed. I thought that was pretty clever. And yeah, as I mentioned in the commentary, like this is clearly a fake doctor, and yet all of a sudden there's an audience, there's a crowd, there's someone selling a program, and such a bizarre cartoon. But now I'm going to present to you a snippet of the Bob Clamper Retrospective Part 1, for those of you who aren't interested in listening to the entire thing, but this is the part relevant to this short. My good friend Manny Cruz, the Toonie Tenor, give him a follow on various socials, and my good friend Eli Copperman, they'll give their thoughts as well, so take it away. But we got Patient Porky, which, again, the Clampett seemed to be more interested in this wacky cat in this one, who's a patient that pretends to be a doctor. But this was quite a good one. I mean, Manny, what are your thoughts on that one?
This is one I saw often growing up, along with the Daffy Doc. I would, if you had to make me choose, I would go with Daffy Doc. It's kind of strange that so soon into his career, Clampett was already like making a remake, and I guess the cat was was an attempt to try to make another wacky character in the vein of Daffy Duck. For me, it's like I said, it has its moments. I will say the part with Dr. Christian and the patients with the owl yelling, I can't talk above a whisper. That part always cracks me up. It's hilarious. The cat has his moments. And yes, there is. I remember, I think it was about a year or so ago, that I had no idea that the cartoon. Well, I knew that the cartoon was computer colorized, but I didn't know that the entire short was filmed. And it came up randomly on my YouTube where the scenes with the Rochester stereotype was computer colorized. I was like, wow, I was like shocked that was there. So I remember the cartoon mainly for the yelling owl and some of the cat shenanigans and that really awkwardly inserted Rochester stereotype. Although I will say some of the puns he's throwing out there are kind of funny. And this is another early appearance of the early version prototype. I don't know what you want to call it. I refuse to call it Happy Rabbit because that doesn't exist. But the very early version of Bugs Bunny does make a quick cameo, which is kind of neat.
Oh, you love Happy Rabbit, don't lie.
I like to be happy, and I love wabbits, but I don't like Happy Rabbit.
Fair enough.
Before we can continue, I just want to add one thing. I don't know if y'all thought this when we first watched the cartoon, but this might have just been my dumb 10-year-old mind while watching this cartoon for the first time. Did any of y'all also think that that one scene where the crazy cat puts an X-ray up to Porky's stomach and that whole cake with just one slice off? He was trying to stop Porky. Did any of y'all think he wanted to cut open Porky's stomach to eat that cake?
It's funny that you say that because that the part where you see the cake. I used to think, and thank you, Bob Clamper, for warping my young mind. I do remember that scene that I'm like, when you eat your food, it reforms in your stomach. Or going back to Porky's movie mystery, when the villain is eating the apple and you see it reform in his stomach when he chews it. I used to think that was realistic.
It's not?
Not in cartoon land.
It's not real? Oh, no. So, this short is very, very bizarre. And given the length of it, and given the fact it was mostly a remake anyway, and there's some reused animation, I think this was just something that Clamper just wanted to get out the door. Maybe he was running behind. I don't know. not a mind reader or anything. But I do prefer the Daffy Doc. I think it's a funnier cartoon, despite the whole iron lung business in that short. And I love the cat in this one. I think the cat is absolutely hilarious. Despite the fact there's really nothing much to this cat, but I digress. A few funny gags here and there, a lot of puns, especially for those who actually know about them, and even if you don't, it can still be pretty funny. I don't know, 6.5 out of 10, maybe 7.5. That's probably what I'd rate it. It's not bad, but it's not exactly my go-to short of Clampett of this particular period. It's not a bad short. If it's on TV, definitely give it a watch, or better yet, buy one of the sets I have in the description below. I've got a link to each of those sets, but hopefully we'll get some sort of a HD version of the Porky Pig 101 set now that this has been restored in high definition. So, that'll do it for this one. Thank you so much for watching, and until next time, take care.